Moving on to other news now, some newly elected mayors in Gauteng have failed to appoint MMCs. The Gauteng Cooperative Governance MEC Lebogang Maile has warned coalition councils to form governments immediately and finalise negotiations. So what should happen now, and what does the Municipal Act say, considering that these appointment delays? To help us make sense of it all is Sysman Motloung, political science lecturer at the Northwest University. Mr. Motloung, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and a warm welcome to The Full View.
Hi, thank you for having me, and greetings to your viewers.
What seems to be the problem here? Are these unwarranted delays driven by the lack of political will?
I think this is mainly an issue of your formalization of the agreements that political parties have to make. Remember, this is government formed by coalitions. So it would imply that before forming government, they did not agree as to who should be in the executive committee, or it is only something they are thinking about now. What was priority was at first forming a council and ensuring that a municipality is in order.
Let's talk about the prejudice that voters and, by extension, all South Africans are subjected to when councillors and political parties alike turn their backs on the interests of the people and start jostling for positions for their own personal gain. As we understand that, negotiations between Herman Mashaba's Action SA and the Democratic Alliance have now hit a snag, ostensibly because Herman Mashaba is demanding some MMC positions and is allegedly negotiating for MMC positions on behalf of the EFF. South Africans end up getting the raw end of the bargain.
Oh, we would think that South Africans are not being served as yet, but there are two dimensions to this. So remember, a local municipality is composed of the officials, public officials and politicians. So as of now, councils are politicians who are still formulating themselves, while public officials are continuing running municipalities. Yet the personal ambitions are also acceptable. Remember, politicians' primary ambition is to be in power, and now they are negotiating over that power, who should be in control. So I think those who want to be in would rationalize that they want to make sure things run in order. They want to keep a close eye on how agreements are being made and decisions are being made in council, rather than being in the opposition benches. So these are the nitty-gritties that these coalition partners have to go through for this moment.
Should certain parties not get the desired positions, is this likely to lead to unstable and shaky coalitions? And does this give impetus, perhaps, to the narrative that coalition governments as a solution to the electorally divided governments are doomed to failure in contemporary South Africa?
Yes, I think if then it happens that a particular formation thinks that they are being sidelined and they feel that their share of contribution into formulating government is being neglected, they may withdraw from the agreement, and that will dissolve a council, and then we'll have to come again to decide as to who should replace them. It could go there, but I would want to think that they have to be more mature about it and to understand that at some point, not everyone would be able to have an opportunity to be in power. So some have to make sacrifices in this regard, if this is in the interest of the general public. Otherwise, yes, we are heading for a big struggle whereby some are withdrawing and then we have to form new government again. It will be that kind of a cycle, and a very vicious cycle, if there is no maturity in managing these coalitions.
Yeah, speaking of maturity, which is very, very important when it comes to matters involving parties which do not necessarily see eye to eye when it comes to ideology. So will these parties be in a position to work together if they don't see, they don't agree on the same ideologies?
No, I think we have to now think of this way. When we are now reflecting on mayoral executive positions, this is mainly about programs. It's mainly about service delivery over the being pedantic about ideologies. So it is very important to understand in this coalition, what is the plan of action in terms of a program to be implemented. This is where I would think some political parties should be comfortable being outside the mayoral executive committees as long as their program of action receives priority. And this is what this structure is about, determining what is a priority within council, which areas should be prioritized, and to ensure there is equitable service delivery for their communities. So I would think in terms of maturity, they have to prioritize programs over their self-interests.
I suppose it's only prudent that we thrust into the spotlight the role of the voters in this particular instance, because it does appear that the role of voters only ends the minute they cast their ballots, and beyond that, the role of voters is not taken into consideration. Should the role of voters perhaps be, extended to deciding, on the coalition governments, perhaps, and if that particular government isn't working, and if the councillors are not delivering, maybe have a hand and have the power in recalling some of these councillors and dismantling some of these coalitions?
Yeah, you see, in the theories or approaches of managing coalitions, there is a provision that when a coalition is in place, before any significant decisions are made, there has to be consultation with the voters. But this kind of a direct democracy approach would be time-consuming, because we think that councils have to make decisions on the spot or in a very short cycle of time. But when we have to now ensure that we liaise, we consult with the stakeholders, with the voter, it will take very long time. And also, it opens up spaces for disagreement, because I don't think everyone will be satisfied to come to a common conclusion. So South African political system is mainly about representative democracy. The voter has to be comfortable and make peace with the fact that once you vote and give power to a particular political party, you have said those representatives now take your mandate. They represent what you would have said given an opportunity to have said something. So this is, when you look yesterday when there was a debate in Parliament about the constitutional amendment, you'd hear politicians often saying, people say, or our people say. So they are speaking on behalf of the people, they are expressing the wish of the people, and this is how it is under representative democracy.
All right, Mr. Motloung, thank you so much for your insights. We do appreciate the time. There is Sysman Motloung. He is a political science lecturer at the Northwest University, and just sharing his thoughts and his sentiments on the fact that the newly elected mayors of Gauteng and Tshwane still haven't appointed MMCs, and this is a cause for concern.